Okay. Whoop. Well, hello. Okay, let's see here. Getting all set up. Hello there. I'm a couple minutes behind. I've been stressing out a little bit about this one. I had tried a couple of different things and put them in my handout, and then I decided I really didn't like it, so I just took them out, so it made me a little bit late. Anyway, greetings, everyone. Glad you're here. It is a beautiful sunny day in Northwest Indiana. It's probably close to 70 degrees, which is, I guess, what we'd call our Indian summer, since we've already had a frost. Yesterday was equally nice, and I haven't listened to the weather, so I don't know how it's going to be the rest of the week, but I don't know if our luck is going to hold out that long. So, but it's nice. It's a good day after we're done to go clean some of the garden plants up and put things away for the winter. Hello, everyone. Tacos and Sue, best way to spend my Wednesday. You're funny, Chrissy. But that's a good way. I wish I had tacos. Okay. So, today, I guess I'll go ahead and get started with the project. Hello, everybody. Oh, good, Mary. I'm glad you made it. Hi, Joanne. Yeah, I mean, I see we've got several people here, which is great. And I've got my laptop set up, and that way I can read your comments a little bit easier. Oh, I have to turn the volume off of that. I was watching Francesca's video just a little while ago, and I see that she's got one going on at 2:30 today too. So I guess I'll catch hers later, and maybe the people that are watching her will catch mine later. So we shall see. Okay, so today I am presenting these cute little, whoop, don't fail me now, little business card holders. And I wish I could say that I came up with this idea, but I did not. A friend of mine gifted me with a little business card holder a few years ago, and it didn't have a nameplate on it, which was fine. It still was very functional. But I was trying, I've been trying to think of what I can show you guys every Wednesday, and I had this out. I had my gifted one out on the work table, and I thought, I should try to make one of these, and I did. But the snag that I was saying that I had a little while ago was I was trying to make this design all with the rolling mill, with the roller printed design. And by that, if you don't know what that is, hang on just a sec. Take one out. They are special papers that are made by Rolling Mill Resources. They have a group here on Facebook as well, and Gwen Youngblood is the owner of that business, and she makes all these gorgeous printed designs that are are made to go through your rolling mill and imprint on your metal. And for this project, for the one I made originally, I used one of her patterns. I had a larger sheet. Her patterns come in all different sizes, but you would need a larger sheet for a piece of metal this size. So I had the design that I wanted. I had a larger sheet than this actually. And I realized that I had to have the design printed on one side totally and on a partial of the opposite side, maybe about a third of the length of the metal. And I wasn't really certain how to go about that. And when I made this one, I couldn't remember because I made this a little while back, but what I think I did, I'm pretty sure what I did now, is I rolled the pattern and the copper through the rolling mill on the first pass, and then I turned it over and I laid the paper pattern on the opposite side and rolled the mill in about a third of the way, and then I back rolled the roller of the rolling mill and pulled it out, because once you're in the process of rolling something, you can no longer open your mill up at the top. So I either had to roll it all the way through or I backed it up. And when I did that, I thought, geez, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing or if I'm going to mess up my rolling mill by rolling it backwards. So I didn't want to tell you guys that. I mean, to suggest that as a way to do it, because I wasn't certain if it was proper or not. So then I went through a bunch of rigmarole trying to concoct some other way, and I really couldn't find anything that was really successful. I did it, but it had consequences. And I thought in my mind that this was brilliant, that this was going to work. And what I did was I taped part of the pattern and a piece of the styrofoam and taped it together. And then for the back side, and then I taped a part like the third of the size and taped it to the foam, and then put my copper in between, made like a little sandwich, put the copper in between, laid that down, and then I rolled this through the mill. And I thought, okay, but when I took it out, then I noticed, and I don't know, well, I think you can see it. There's a line here where the pattern and the foam met. But I thought, well, that's okay, because I'm going to bend this top piece, which makes this curve right here. So that curve, that line would be hidden. But as I was cleaning the metal a little while ago, I realized that it's got the tape mark from the Scotch tape that I used. And I thought, you know, this is just, I think it's just not meant to be for this. So if somebody else can figure out how to do this without getting the line in between or the tape mark, I never expected the tape mark, but after I cleaned with the steel wool, that was just like glaring at me. So I couldn't go ahead and do that. So I'll use this piece of copper for something else. But I did want to show you that there is a possibility there, but maybe for a brain that works a little bit better than mine. So there you have it. So the other way I'm going to show you then, because I was going to show you two different ways, because I know not everybody has a rolling mill, and that's okay. The second one that I made, then I just textured with a texture hammer, and I think that is perfectly fine as well, although I really am partial to the rolling mill. But like I said, maybe we can still figure something out for that. Or maybe Gwen can design a special pattern if there was interest. I don't know. That might be asking a lot. So, yeah, I mean, I like my projects to turn out, and a lot of times they do, but sometimes there's some real stinkers in there, and I always chalk it up to learning. So, so there you go. Okay, so those are the things. Now, like I said, the original one did not have a nameplate, but I thought adding the little nameplate was kind of cool. So, what I have here, let me put this to the side. And I've got this all in the handout for you. Everything, the sizes, the dimensions, all that stuff is written out. I was struggling with the instructions just a little bit because I have a lot of pictures in this one, and I was trying to match the pictures with the instructions, and it was figure 1 and figure 2, and then we got to figure 9 and 10, and it's like, no, it was just like too much. So I took all the figures out of there. The pictures are in there, and with the demo, I think you should be able to understand this just fine. Okay, so for the project, I cut a piece of 3.5 by 5 inch 24 gauge copper sheet. Okay, so you need that, and that's in the instructions, so you don't have to write it down right now if you don't want to. You will also need a piece, a little strip of copper for your nameplate, and I measured this one out to be 3 inches by 3.25 inches. That's totally up to you. It just depends on how much design you want on here. So, you know, you don't have a whole lot of space here to make it much bigger than 3/4 inch. Maybe you could make it an inch, but that's up to you. Okay, so and I only put 2 rivets in it. I just, one on each side I figured was enough for that. Okay, so I have a couple of design hammers that I like especially well, and I know I've shown them before. And why is it that whenever I sit down, I think I have the tools I need, and then I find out I don't? Okay, well, the straight line hammer, embossing hammer, I like this one a lot. This is a True Strike by Eurotool. Fretz makes them too. They're considerably more expensive, but they're very nice. But this does a very good job, just as well, I think. And then the ball peen end of my chasing hammer. I do have a smaller embossing hammer that I like quite a bit, but the ball peen end of your chasing hammer works great. So, so that's something just about everybody that does any metal work has already. So that's kind of nice to have that on hand. What else? I am using 14 gauge wire for my rivets. You can use 16 gauge, you can use 18 gauge. It all depends on the size hole that you're going to punch out. So I am using these Beadsmith punch pliers, and these are the long reach, which is great because you can get farther into your metal if you need to. Excuse me. And they are 1.8 millimeters, the size of this one. They come in a lot of different sizes, and they correspond with the wire size. Okay, so there are several different punches that you can use. There is the standard 2-hole punch. This 5/32 hole or 3/32 hole on the big end. The 3/32 hole works great with 14 gauge wire. The 1/16, I think, well, let me see. I think that'll work good with 18. I should have verified this. But yeah, the 1/16 works with the 16 gauge wire just great. I made myself a little hole gauge where I just punched the different holes of the hole punches that I have, and then I wrote on there, and then I laminated it. So, and then I had to punch out the holes, but that way I can tell for sure what size wire I need with what size hole. Okay, and then there is the Euro punch. This is a 4-hole punch, and this was designed by Eugenia Chan, and this one is the wire gauge size. There's a 3-hole version also, and this is the 4-hole, and it's got the 18 gauge, 16 gauge, 14 gauge, and 12 gauge holes. So that will correspond with your wire as well. So you have choices with your hole punches. But today I'm using the punch pliers. I generally use this one for just about everything though. Okay, so then what else? Oh, and I am going to use Gwen Youngblood's Riveting Essentials little riveting gauges. If you haven't seen those used, I will do it. I'm doing 2 rivets, so you'll see how I use it. Melissa Muir has a great video on how to use this set, and it covers the whole set because there's more things in the kit than just these. And she does a quick video, but it's a good one. It shows you, explains how you use these. Do you have to have these? No, you can do rivets in other ways, but I thought since I had these, I would show you how I use them. Okay, and let's see what else. You'll need a bench block, chasing hammer, texture hammers, hole punches, liver of sulfur for patina, and metal stamps, metal design stamps, and letter stamps, depending on what you want to put on your nameplate. So I will do one of mine to show you. And let me just check here. I see some things here. Okay. Okay, so where do I start? Okay, I guess what I'll start with is texturing the back, the main piece here. Oh, I also wrote on here, and this will be on your handout too. I wrote on here where you make the bends when you're bending your business card holder. So that's recorded. I'm going to be pounding this piece. Oh no, I'm not pounding this piece. I already did one side of a sheet of copper. Now I'm going to do the opposite side, and it'll be a little bit noisy while I'm doing that. And that's why I went ahead and I did one side already, so you didn't have to listen to all the dinging going along. I will finish this side, and then I'm going to anneal it because the metal has gotten quite stiff since I was pounding on it, and we need it to be annealed and softened if we want to make those bends easily. Okay, so I'm taking my texturing hammer, the straight edge, and I am going to turn the camera down just a bit. Well, actually, yeah. Okay. Okay. And you know, the thing is that, you know, the front part of that business card holder, you know, you just see this portion of the design, and then the other design is inside here and then over on the back. But that's the opposite side of this when you fold it, if you can follow that. So that's why you need the design on both sides. And if you can figure out just the right amount to do on the one side, go for it. But I just figured it's easier to just have the whole sheet covered. And your metal will curl while you're doing this. And periodically you'll just need to whack it back down with a rawhide or nylon hammer. You can turn your volume off if it annoys you too much. Okay. Okay, now at this point, I am going to decal the edges. I'm a big fan of that, so I know you've seen me do this before, but I really like it. I think it just finishes off a piece nicely. So, and what I mean by that is I'm taking my ball peen hammer, or the chasing hammer, and using the ball peen end of that, and I'm going to pound along the edge all the way around. Okay, that doesn't really take all that long. If you can see that up here on the edge. Okay. Actually, I want that towards me. Shake my hand out a little bit. Okay, so I went all the way around. That really didn't take long, just noisy. Now I want to file my corners just a little bit, just so that they're not so pointy and sharp. So I'm going to take my new favorite sanding stick and just kind of go over them. I think this is 180 sandpaper in here. I could be wrong, it could be 220, but I think it might be 180. Just enough to round those edges off a little bit, because this metal gets kind of sharp. Oop. I think that these little business card holders will be a very cute addition to your vending setups, or in a shop. If you have your jewelry in a shop, you could put a business card by a business card holder with your cards in it at someone's shop. These are pretty inexpensive to make, as long as you have all the tools already. But I think it would be awesome to have those with your display. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to just set this one aside, and I'm going to start working on the nameplate. Here, I'll just show you this too. This is a piece that I just used the ball peen end of the chasing hammer, just totally with that. And I think that's a great design as well. And then this is what I just used, but this has got the patina on it. That glare kind of gets in the way. Okay. Yeah, they're really nice textures, I think. Okay. All right. So I'm going to set this aside and get ready for my stamping. And on both of mine, one I did in total uppercase letters, and then the other one I did upper and lowercase. And I think I kind of like the uppercase a little bit better because they're just slightly larger, and I think that they showed up better. So I'm going to do this one on the uppercase. I am using today Impress Arts. I know it's backwards. Impress Arts, and this is the Juniper pattern. But you can use whatever appeals to you or that you have. And I am going to also use another product from Impress Arts. They have a couple other things that are kind of nice. This is a straight line stamp tape, which I haven't used yet. It's still in its package. And I bought it because I thought it would be useful. And then I also have the Impress Arts bracelet guide. And I did use these, and I like it a lot. So that's all I've been using. This comes in a pad with 3 removable strips on each page. And I guess it was mainly designed as a guide for you stamping on a long piece, like on a bracelet, on a cuff bracelet. But I find that it is good for lots of different, like the nameplates are great. I think you could use it on just about anything. It has little lines here too, where you can line up your lettering. So, as I always do, I kind of eyeball where I'm going to put this on here. Put the camera down a bit. Can you guys see okay? I guess you can. Okay, and so like I said, I'm going to eyeball where I'm putting this. About halfway maybe a little less than half across my piece like that. So it's stuck on there. Okay. And then I'm going to write the Artisan's Workshop across here, just so I get a sense of where I'm putting my letters. I know that there are, people have their own methods of stamping, but this is how I do it, and it works for me. So I'm going to be putting a rivet hole on each end, so I kind of, you know, mark that where I'm going to put my rivet hole. I guess I'm a little bit close to the edge there, but I'll know not to put my hole right on the edge. And then I'm just going to write out my words. And I just can't line it up perfectly with these little marks. I'm just too impatient, and I think I'm going to run out of room. No, I guess I'm good, but I'm close. But it changes a little bit when you're actually stamping. The Mandela Guide for rings is that's an Impress Arts product, isn't it, Jennifer? I think it is. I think it is. Okay, now for this, I'm going to just use a standard hammer. And, you know, the letters are printed on the box, but they're the same color as the box. So I just kind of went over it with a black marker, the letters, so that I can see them better. And I also like to tip the box so that I can pull out the stamps. I'll just set some stamps underneath there, just so that I can see all the letters easily, because I like to put them right back in the box, each one as I use it. One other thing that I want to tell you about some of these stamps is most of the brands that I'm aware of will have, it has the letter on the bottom that you're going to use, but it also has the letter on the side, like engraved on the side. Really take care to make sure that your letter is in the right orientation when you hit it. So that letter that's on the front should be facing you as you strike it. So that way, you know, like the E is in the right position going this way instead of going this way, because nothing is more frustrating than typing a whole long word and then you get to like the second to the last letter and you put the stamp in the wrong orientation. It's like, ugh. So, and also, believe it or not, I have come across a couple of stamps that were stamped incorrectly on the front, so that the orientation was actually the opposite way that it should be. So really, you know, take care with your alignment when you're doing that. So that way you don't have any really frustrating moments. Okay, so I'm going to line the stamp up right against this edge, which is great because that for each stamp, so it tells you, you can feel where you're supposed to put the stamp. It won't tell you the distance of spacing. That's what these little lines are for. But as far as the feel, to butt that stamp right against the edge of this little sticker, it's kind of nice. So I'm going to give it a whack. Okay. I have to spell out my whole name here. Excuse me, and check the orientation. Now my copper is starting to bend a little bit, so I'm going to just whack it down there with the mallet to flatten that out. And I can see, even though I'm trying to be very straight and precise, excuse me, I'm not exactly. Need a little drinky. Ooh, that was a little crookedy. Now I have a little comma stamp, since my artisans is plural. That came in the lowercase. I don't know why these things don't have. I guess I should stamp this. I would prefer to have those things rather than a star or a smiley face in all the sets, but I don't get to decide that. And I have picked up the Q instead of the O sometimes, which is pretty frustrating. But that's my mistake. Almost done with this part. I'd be good at whack-a-mole. I probably would. Okay, so I did that. Now, I'm going to take that part off. And I am going to just put a little bit of Scotch tape. Well, I guess I'll put it on the top because I'm not putting a design there. Okay, so I'll put a little Scotch tape there, and then I'm going to add a floral pattern. And these stamps I got from Beaducation. If you're not familiar with them, they make lots of really nice, affordable stamps. Okay. And I guess I will start with a sunflower in the center. That was not very nice. If you imprint one side well, you can stick your stamp back in there if you can feel the grooves. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it because you'll get like a shadow line. Okay, so that worked. Now I have some vines. People want to contact me now. And I have the right and left version. But you know, you can design it however you want with whatever you have. Oh, that's a comma. I don't want that. I'm going to put another sunflower here. That's better. Another one over on this side. Notice my precision. I measure nothing, or very, very little, I should put it that way. That's not saying you shouldn't, but that's... Oh, something crashed. Okay. And one more sunflower. Okay. Now the metal distorts a little bit. That's normal, but that you can flatten out. I am also going to sand my corners, or I should say file my corners a little bit, just so they're not sharp. Although that doesn't matter so much on the nameplate, but clean this up. Yeah, it's yucky looking. All right, where's my sanding stick again? It just looks nicer, more professional when you have rounded edges and finished edges on things, in my opinion. And there's less things to get poked with. Okay, so that's what I stamped. It's not perfect, but it's okay. I'm all right with that. Okay, so now I have to mark where I want my rivet holes to be, and because they went bye-bye when I cleaned this off. All right, so I've got just a little. Jennifer, let me see. Let me check these messages here a minute. My vacuum is on its way, dying. Are you talking about a Jewel Tool vacuum by chance? Because if you are, I'm extremely jealous. Michelle, kind of like sausage. Kind of like sausage you don't want to see. That is true enough. I think if you ever saw a sausage or hot dog, maybe not sausage so much, but if you saw a hot dog made, you probably would never eat another one. My grandpa, he's been long gone, but he came here like in the early 1900s, and he worked in different shops and stuff, and he would never eat a hot dog. Never. He said, if you saw what went in there, you wouldn't eat one either. And it's like, yeah, but they taste pretty good, Gramps, you know, but I can understand that. Oh, Jennifer, you lucky dog. Yeah, jealous for sure. One of these days, you know, I had bought a Fordham, what they call a fish mouth that you sand in, you know, and it has a hose for a vacuum, and my husband set it up with a shop vac hose, and it's okay, but it's not great. But if I could find a way to run a vacuum that would go, you know, like have a Y connector and use it from the Fordham to the Jewel Tool, I would buy one in a heartbeat. But I don't want to buy one just to dedicate to one tool when I have another tool that needs it equally bad. So It's a decision. I have to teach more, or I have to do some shows or something so I can justify that. Okay. Spam is the same. Yes, it is, Deb. Yes, it is. I used to eat that as a kid. My mom used to make it with eggs in the morning, and we thought it was great, but I wouldn't now. Okay. And Mary, I see that Michelle answered your question. Yep, and that is right. Okay, all right, so we'll move on. And now, put my eyeballs, my attractive eyeballs back on. And I'm going to punch one side, not both holes. I'm going to just punch one side. And I will tell you why. Okay. And I am going to get my sheet here. Okay. All right. So I'm going to get my sheet here and my wire. And here again is an eyeball job. So I'm going to go down, let's say, probably a quarter of an inch. Yeah, about a quarter of an inch from the top, and mark one hole. Okay, and there I'm going to punch that one hole. Okay, so now I'm going to line up the nameplate and the copper sheet. And I want a flush cut, so I'm cutting with the back side of my cutters, snipping that little piece off. And I'm going to take the rivet guides. I hope that you can see okay. Okay, so I'm going to take the 14 gauge because that's the size wire that I'm using, and these are marked. It's got a number 14 stamped on it, and it has a center hole and then some side holes, but we're just going to use the center hole. If you want to know how all these, how they're used, watch Melissa Muir's video on this because she explains why these are the way they are. Okay, so I'm going to lay the 14 gauge guide down, and I'm going to position, well, let's do it this way. It's easier to understand. I'm going to put the wire through the center hole. Then I'm putting my nameplate through that also. Then I'm putting it through the sheet. Then I'm putting it through the bottom guide and setting it on my block. Now this is where I don't know if you can see, but I did make some pictures in the handout so that you should see exactly what I'm doing. So I push this guide over to the side, the wire's right up against the guide, and then I'm taking my cutters and using the flush side down, just put that over the guide, holding onto the wire and snip. That piece of wire that's in there is the right height to make that rivet. So I'll take the top guide off, but I'm leaving the bottom guide in. And I'm going to take my chasing hammer, because you can use this as a rivet tool, or you could have a rivet hammer, that's fine. And I am going to tap that down. And the wire starts to spread out and make like a little nail head. And at this point, I can lift it up, take out the bottom guide, turn this over, and hit the rivet from the back side till the rivet wire kind of mushrooms out. And I want to make sure that's on nice and tight because I'm going to be bending this piece and I don't want that rivet to pop out. So it should not go anywhere, but you can't be positive. Okay, that might have been a little overkill, but I would rather err on that side. Okay, now I'm going to just slide this up a bit, punch my other hole. And the reason I do that I don't punch all the holes at once is because inevitably, if you punch all 4 holes at the same time and then you place the rivet wire, they're not going to line up on this end. It's like it's the law or something. It never works out. So it's better to just do one portion, get that all situated, and then go to do your second one. Now I'm going to punch the second hole through here. Okay. And set up my guides again. I've just got my wire. I just want to make sure that I've got a flush end. Set this all together. Hi, Lori. Or Louise. I can't read anymore. Okay, so I've got this lined up. Make sure I'm through everything. And cut my wire. Oh, that one popped out. Okay. Excuse me. I lost my wire. Get back in there. That happened because this copper is a little bit bowed. There we go. I'll get it back in there without coming out again. Okay, good. Okay. You would think that I'm hitting the other metal around here, but I'm not. It's just going right on the rivet head. Okay, I'm going to turn that over, get rid of that guide. Okay, so it's on. Now I'm going to anneal this whole shebang because it is really stiff from me pounding on it, and I need it to be very pliable when I bend it. So I'm going to do that. And get this stuff set over to the side. And my crappy block. Get this towel out of here because I will set it on fire for sure. Okay. Make sure I don't have any bits of solder on here. Well, I can't be sure. Well, I think I'll just do it from the top because I know there's none up there. Okay, so I'm going to now, if you have any questions or concerns or anything, start typing them, because as soon as I put this in the pickle, we'll have a few minutes to just talk while we're waiting that to clean. So I will talk about anything pretty much, except politics. Not talking politics. But yeah, if you have any questions or anything, feel free to ask. All right, I'd say that's pretty darn good. All right, so there's my utility pliers when you need them. No, I don't have them here. All right, wrench. All right, and now I'm going to stick this in the pickle. And hopefully that won't take too long. And get rid of this hot brick. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. How hot does your torch get? I just came back from Walmart's and they were out of the butane, out of stock. Yeah, I don't know how hot it gets, but I'd say it's pretty darn hot. I haven't been using this kind for all that long, but I was watching some of the other instructors use these, and I thought, boy, that's really kind of cumbersome, isn't it? And I thought, well, I'll try it because everybody's using them. So I got one and I like it. It is pretty powerful. It's way more powerful, I think, than the regular creme brulee torches. But I mean, I think you can torch fire enamel, under a tripod with it. I don't see a problem with that, really. You can get them on Amazon. I've seen that you can get them there. I would say any sporting goods store that sells camping equipment, because people use these for camp stoves, I guess, or something. At least we've got a hardware store called Menards in this area, and they had them in their camping section, but I don't think their camping section is operating right now. I think they've taken that all away for the holiday stuff. So, but I'm sure you can find them online. So at least I would hope so. What else? You didn't think I could anneal, or it could? Why not? It's copper wire. It's solid copper. I'm not on there that long that's gonna melt anything. So if anybody can chime in on that. I would always like to know. And you know, Jennifer, there are other rivets out there that I don't know if they're solid copper or not. So that could be an issue. There is a rivet system that I use a lot, and they have like hollow, they're like hollow rivets. So I've never used it with that, but I think with a piece of wire rivet like this, I think it's fine. Yeah, Gwen does have the Riveting Essentials kit on her Etsy shop. I also have that noted in my resources on my handout, so you should be able to locate those. Anybody else? Okay. Oh, yeah, that's a big price difference, Sonny. That is, you have a project for me? Oh, goody. Okay, I will check it out later on this afternoon. What kind of torch? Chrissy, this is two separate pieces. This is just the torch head here. This one is by Eurotool, and you can get it from any Eurotool distributor, or they have a Sterno brand one that you can buy on Amazon. I don't know if you can get this one on Amazon too, but from what Francesca Watson was saying is she preferred the Sterno over the Eurotool. So I don't know, I haven't tried the Sterno yet, so I imagine they're pretty much the same. As far as durability, that I don't know because I haven't had this long. So we shall see. Okay. So yeah, I mean, I'm a Eurotool distributor as well. However, you know, you may get the shipping thing is the issue. You know, I could probably get a better price on stuff, but then I got to pay shipping to have it shipped to me, and then I have to have charge shipping to ship it to you. So I don't know how much savings that would really be. But if you have trouble getting something and you really want it, just let me know, and I'll see what I can do. Also, Francesca Watson has an Amazon affiliate that's on her group page, and if you order through that link on her page, then she gets a small commission for any purchases. So I would, if you are able to support her, I certainly would do that. I would recommend doing that. So that's about it on that. All right, Sonny, you bought the Sterno head from Amazon. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of looking, searching a little bit and seeing what you can find out there. I'm going to go grab my liver of sulfur because I forgot to put that on the table, and that's probably the next thing we're going to do. It looks like that pickle is almost done. I'll be right back. All right, that wasn't that bad. All right, so I will get set up with the liver of sulfur and my steel wool. I discovered that I could use a thermos with hot water for when I'm doing these classes, and it's a lot easier because it's nice and hot, and I don't have to go away to the sink to to take care of that. All right. I am using a new pickle that I got from a pool supply store. And my gosh, I can't think of the name of it right now, but it works way faster. Of course, I think I put a lot in the pot, but it works a lot faster than the citric pickle or citric acid pickle, which is fine, but I like the faster one, especially when I'm doing demos now, because there's not as much wait time. Okay, so I dried that off. Push it down here. I'll clean it up a bit. All right. And I'm going to put some gloves on for this because I'm just killing my hands. And with winter and cooler weather coming on, my hands get so chapped and dried that whatever I can do to protect them would be good. So I'm just going to briefly clean off some of that residue from the pickle. And then I'm going to put it in the liver of sulfur and clean it again, so I don't really need to go crazy on this. All right. Real professional, blowing on it. Okay, so now I've got my pan for my liver of sulfur. Pour in some nice hot water. I like the gel, the liver of sulfur gel. And I just put some in with the, this is the XL gel. Just put some in with a craft stick. Stick in my copper. And I just spilled liver of sulfur. Okay. All right. I didn't bring my tweezers either. Darn it. Well, I'm going to stick my other tweezers in here. I don't like to put these in the liver of sulfur, but they're gonna take one for the team right now. If it seems like it's a little bit slow, if you agitate it a little bit, it helps move that around and get it nice and dark. Oh, does that stuff stink? All right, then I'm gonna rinse it off. Rinse water over here. Okay, get this out from under my nose. You see, I didn't use that much of the liver of sulfur, and it does a nice job in a very short period of time. All right. This is why I use gloves, because some of this stuff comes off. I know you can what's the word, Sue? You can neutralize the liver of sulfur with a little baking soda in your water too. I tend to not do that, but I know that that's probably not a bad thing to do. All right, so clean this up here. I use this piece of craft foam. I like working on that because it has like a little bit of a grip so my piece doesn't slide around. It's just the cheap craft foam from the craft stores. And you can buy them like in this size, or you can buy the larger sheets. Whenever I do classes, I always include one of these in the class kit for people to have a working surface. And you know, we shake off this excess steel wool fiber, and then you can use the reverse side, the clean side, you know, for other work. It's just a thing I like to do. All right, so I'm cleaning the back side as well. I'm gonna give the edges just a little hit. Okay. And you can take off as much as you want of the patina. It's totally up to you. There's a little water behind my back plate, so it's gonna seep out a little bit as it dries. Or I could hit it with some canned air behind there too and get it dried out right away. Okay, so that's how the business card holder looks at this point. And the only thing left we need to do is to bend it. And I will show you that now. Let's clean off those tongs. And clean up those steel wool fibers. They get everywhere. You should probably wear a mask if you're doing much of that. I tend to wear a mask when I'm scrubbing that stuff a lot because it gets up my nose and irritates me, and probably not good to be breathing that either. Okay, so I can take off my gloves. All right, and I'm going to move the camera over to my pipe because I'm working with a pipe to bend this. Now, in my handout, I have 2 photographs of where I make my bends, and you can measure your metal. For the front part of the plate, I measured down about 1.25 inches. That's where I'm going to place it over the pipe and make my first bend. But then on the back side, you're going to be making a second bend, and I marked on that side, you're going down about 3¼ inches from the top of the back side. So that's where the design was the issue. You know, as part of the designs on the front of the plate, but the majority is on the back of the plate. All right, so we're going to move over to my other workbench that I have a pipe. I don't know, it's steel pipe, I guess, that I put in my bench vise. I'm close enough to see. Okay, so this is, I don't know, this is the only thing I could come up with. I don't have a bracelet bender, and I was looking at Joni Kisro's bracelet bender that she sells, and I don't have one of those. I should really get one. But hers is, I guess, mostly for cuff bracelets, making cuffs. So it's not as wide as this piece of copper. So I don't think that this would fit because she's got like 2 screws that come out from the top of her bender. So I don't think this is going to fit in between there. But boy, that would be handy if you had one of those, I think. because she's got, I think 2 or 3 different size tubes that go with that system that she has. And if you put it in the smaller pipe, I think that that would work really good. So you're going to use your fingers as your tools because this is annealed and it's soft. And I'm just going to lay the piece over. Now, if you marked yours, you know, like I said, it'd be about 1.25 inches down. So I'm going to just start to bend it back, you know, back over. And just bring that copper down like that. See that? So this is the first, that was the first bend. That's the front. Now if you lined up, if you marked where your second mark is, that was about 3.25 inches down. Then you just lay this on the top. This is facing you now, upright. And you're making your second bend now. So I'm just kind of squeezing it. And there you have it. Now you might need to tweak it a little bit. You want to put it on the counter and make sure it's level. It's soft enough that you can manipulate it a little bit, but it doesn't teeter. You know, if it teetered, you would have to mess with it a little bit. Back over here. All right. So yeah, I mean, this is pretty easy, I think. You know, it requires minimal tools. It's a pretty sturdy design. It's not going to go anywhere. Put your stack of cards in there. And if they bend forward like those kind of do, I think I want to tip this back a little bit. So I don't think I like that. And, you know, I mentioned also in the handout, if your nameplate seems like it's a little warpy or whatever, you can take a nylon mallet when you have this on your pipe, you know, where you are bending it. You could take that nylon mallet and then just kind of tap that down a little bit if it seems like it's sticking out a little bit far. But it's pretty doable. And yeah, if you had a display, you know, if you display your stuff like I was saying on tables at art fairs and different shows like that, you could have a couple of them, you know, 2 or 3 on your table. And that way you can hit people from every angle with your business card, which is kind of cool. So the price is right. They're really inexpensive to make. Yeah, it's a 3/4 inch pipe. And it's, I believe it's a steel pipe. It's actually the pipe that my husband got me for my hydraulic press. So I can pump up the hydraulic press because I have a homemade job and it didn't come with a pipe. So he painted it. He painted it yellow because I don't know, it's probably extra paint that he had available. And I said, "Why'd you paint it?" You know, it didn't matter to me if it was just plain pipe. And he says, "Well, I thought it would look nicer, but the paint has like chipped like all over my floor and all over my bench." So he was trying to do a good thing. So I can't bum rap him for that, but you know, but yeah, double duty for sure. Also in your handout, I put on the last page a copy of this giant inch. Kate Richburg had posted this in one of her groups, and I thought that was such a handy thing to have. I'm terrible with measuring, as you could probably see. And my measurements, it's like, okay, well, what does 7/16 look like? Or what does 3/16 look like? Well, this blown up like this is really neat. So I copied it and I printed it up and I laminated it. So I've got a couple of them down here in my shop now that I can refer to. So I thought if you hadn't seen that on her group page, I put it in the handout so you can do the same thing if you like. So if you have any questions or anything, please let me know. I think the vise I have in my shop has a pipe just the right size on it. It's what it's used. It's what is used to tighten it. Okay. Okay. You love that. I'm not sure what you mean, Suzanne. Okay. Hi, Jennifer. I'm glad you could join us. Jennifer Nolan is in one of my lampwork beading groups, and we had to miss our retreat this year. Oh yeah, my husband didn't make the press. A girlfriend's husband made it for me, and I was really thankful because at the time I just didn't have the money to spend on a good press, and this is smaller than what I would like, but it is just fine for what I do. So it's totally good. But if anything ever happened to that, I would definitely get a Potter press because I love his stuff and I would want to support him. So anyway, okay. Oh, not a problem, Suzanne. I just wasn't sure. Yeah, it's a good press, but it's not very deep. So I can't put, a lot of stuff, a lot of deep things in there. Like the bracelet formers and stuff. I would love to have those, but they don't fit. There has to be probably at least 6 inches of depth, and I think I just have barely 3. So it is a 20-ton. It is a 20-ton. Hi, Karen. Glad you could join us, but we're just about done. Although you can hit replay, I can see my camera is doing the light shading things now. I don't know why that happens, but it did that the last time. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this project. I'm not sure what I'm going to do next week. I usually have a good idea of what I'm going to do the following week, but I'm thinking possibly enameling the immersion method of torch firing, which is different than the tripod method. And some of you may be familiar with that, but I suspect there's a lot that aren't. So I may do a demonstration on that. The only thing is that I'm going to be using a hothead torch, which is quite loud. That would be the only drawback to doing the torching, but I may do that. But like I said before, if you have ideas of things that you'd like me to present, I'd be happy to hear them. So I guess that's going to wrap it up, and I will be posting the, hey Rhonda, you're going to have to watch the whole thing over, my dear. But I'm glad that you made it at least. Yeah, I'm going to have the handout available in just a few minutes, and you can print that up if you like. And if you have any questions about what I did, anybody who is watching the replay that was not able to watch it live, if you have questions, just shoot me over a message or message right on this post. And Michelle, I hope that was helpful for you. I know that you were thinking about doing the same thing, and I love the little dishes that you made. I saw those on Instagram this morning. just under the wire. Hey, Patty. I know we had conflicting things going on this afternoon, so, you know, but this is always available for replay. So, and I discovered that I could put titles on my demos, which it's been there all along, but I just never noticed it. And I wish that I could put the title right on the little pictures, you know, so that way you didn't have to click on each one to find out what they are. But at least that is a big help, because before you'd have to play a few minutes of the demo to see what it was I was presenting. So this makes it a little bit easier. I'm still not all that technologically savvy, so, but I'm working on it. All right, so thanks for joining me, guys. I'll see you next Wednesday. Send in any ideas, and please post your stuff on the group page. I like to see it all, okay? See you later. Bye-bye.